A few days ago, I uploaded a video going over The Chosen Season 3 and some of the very unbiblical and not historically accurate things that they did to fill in the gaps of their story. Because of that video, I've gotten an awful lot of comments like this one. Of the issues I brought up with the Chosen series, this current one is pretty much the smallest of them, but it's the one most people had an issue with. The Chosen reenacted this scene from Matthew 11 and Luke chapter 7. Let's read it and then we'll talk about what I said in my video. Verse 2, Now when John heard in prison about the deeds of Christ, he sent word by his disciples and said to him, Are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? And Jesus answered them, Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. Lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up. And the poor have good news preached to them, and blessed is the one who is not offended by me. When the Chosen reenacted this scene, they blatantly stated that John had doubts about Jesus, that he was the Messiah. That is not anywhere in this text. I want to ask you a question. Let's read Matthew chapter 3 real quick. This is when John baptized Jesus. Verse 14. John would have prevented him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me? But Jesus answered him, Let it be so now, for it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he consented, and when John was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, This is my Son, whom I am well pleased in. If you witnessed the heavens open up and God audibly speak, would you doubt that Jesus is the Messiah? And just to squash any future arguments, when it says the heavens were open to him, the ESV specifically states that manuscripts omit the to him part. So when the heavens were opened, everybody saw it. And as a second witness, this is a translation of the Hebrew Gospel of Matthew manuscripts. And it confirms that the heavens were opened to everyone. So I seriously doubt that John the Baptist would have doubted Jesus is the Messiah. And for the Chosen to add that in there blatantly goes against all the logical information that we have. You might ask yourself, well then why did John send his disciples to Jesus? It makes far more sense to me personally that it was for their benefit and not because John doubted Jesus. I mean, think about it. Most of the people at that time thought the Messiah was going to be a military leader who would come to deliver them from Rome, and that was not happening when Jesus was here. Furthermore, a well-known prophet of God, John the Baptist, was in prison, rotting away while the Messiah was here. It makes far more sense to me that those disciples went to John and questioned Jesus because of the circumstances. And John probably said, well, if you don't believe me, go to him yourself. Go ask him if he's the Messiah or not and see what he says. Then you can come back here, tell me what he said, and we'll talk about it. On top of that, a little further down in this same story, Jesus goes as far as to say that no men ever born were as good as John the Baptist is. If John had just publicly questioned the validity of Jesus as the Messiah, I'm not totally sure if Jesus would have gone out of his way to basically tell everybody that John was the best human being who was ever born. But that's just my opinion. Either way, no matter how you look at it, the Chosen took liberties that they should not have. And they blatantly have added things to the text that were not there simply for production value. And I, for one, am not okay with it.